Hey guys, I know it's been so long since I have posted a video to YouTube. Some of you know what's going on, but there's probably quite a few of you that don't have a clue what's been going on with my life recently. So I thought I would just film a wee video today. I have been doing an interview with BBC Radio Scotland today, and I thought, you know what, it feels like the right time to be more a bit public about what's going on. So this will be the first of probably a few videos, and if you want to follow my journey, then absolutely subscribe and you can catch up with what I'm getting up to these days. So to take you back to over a month ago, it was a Saturday, the first Saturday in March. I had a little bit of an accident. I was sledging with my family. I fell off, was going down the hill, sledging, the snow sled turned around, went backwards, I went backwards and landed on my head. I had a couple of nights in hospital with whiplash, concussion and a torn eardrum. Got sent home, and then 5 days after the accident I woke up and I could barely string a sentence together. I could barely move. I tried to put deodorant on that morning as my other half was going to take me to the doctors, and sorry, that's just my headphones. And yeah, just things weren't right that day. I could barely move. So what's transpired is that so 5 days after the accident I was diagnosed with Post-Concussion Syndrome. So it's been a bit of a rough ride. We're now into week 5, and I really just want to raise as much awareness as possible. So I have had some newspaper articles. So I did one interview over the email, I think 2 weeks after the accident, and then this radio interview that I did today was they were in touch the day that the article appeared, and I put it off for a week or so, because at that point I physically just wasn't able to have a conversation really where I thought I could get the message across really clearly. But now that I've done that today, it just kind of feels right that I should do what I can to try and raise awareness of post-concussion syndrome, because I know that there's so many people that have supported me throughout my journey, and I just feel as though I'm in a position to try and do something about this, try and bring a positive out of this situation, because a lot of it hasn't at the time felt very positive for me, and I have been sharing little updates on my Facebook page, my personal page, but I would just like to do something. And I think by doing these little vlogs, I'm not sure how often I'm going to do them, but I really just want to say, hey guys, this is what I'm dealing with. There are lots of other people in the world that I know now and in the UK that are going through the same thing, and I feel as though if there's something that I can do to help others and raise awareness and just let you know what it's like living with this, then the more people that are aware of it and we can sort of help each other, the better. So this video is, whoa, I've gone really white there. It's I'm just filming it on my iPhone. It's quite stripped back, it's raw, it's just, I'm not going to bother editing it. It's just going to be whatever my thoughts are coming out, you're going to hear them. But to give you an overview, daily what I'm dealing with is fatigue is the biggest thing for me. So there is not a lot that I can really do in a day before I become extremely fatigued. If you follow me already and you're used to seeing a really lively, really energetic me, then you'll know that what you're seeing right now, you're not getting the full AJ experience. She is up here, she's definitely up here, but as the day goes on, I just physically just don't have the energy to get that across. So on a daily basis, if I need to do something, I'll try and get up if it's a nice day or if I'm feeling strong enough to go for a wee walk around the park. And that for me, it's a way for me getting out and experiencing things. And you know, I know that if I do that, then that's probably about my limit for the day. I might manage to have a visitor as well, and then the longer conversation goes on, the more drained I get, and the headaches get worse, and the speech slows down. I get a lot of confusion, and it's just it's kind of game over. So fatigue is the biggest deal for me right now, along with the headaches. So when I fell, I hit the back of my head. I wasn't knocked out, but I don't have much memory at all between before the accident happened and getting to the hospital. There's little snippets, but it just kind of felt as though it was in a dream, so not a lot really makes sense in between those parts. So the headaches that I get are generally where I banged my head at the back of the head, but also where the brain actually shunted towards the front. So I'll have pain in these two places. So when you have concussion, you can generally expect to be recovered from that maybe in a couple of days. But with post-concussion syndrome, there's a whole series of symptoms. Some people suffer from all of them, some maybe just one or two, but generally your length of time for recovery, it's so difficult to tell. It can be anything from weeks to months to maybe even years in a small minority of people. And I know that there are some people that I'm in touch with that just are having to deal with this all of their life. So you know, if you're one of those people, then my heart really does go out for you, does go out to you, because I'm even just dealing with it in the sort of 4.5 weeks that I have been. I know how hard it is. So let's move on then. So there's the headaches, there's the memory problems. Now, in terms of memory, my long-term memories are mostly fine, much like everybody else. There could be things from the past that you forget about, and that's fairly normal. But in terms of a short-term memory, I was always a list person, I always like to write things down, but even more so now. I could have a message or an email comes in from somebody, and if I don't reply, the chances are you're going to have to message me again, because I will forget, and I might think about you again maybe in a few days later, or I might think of you, you know, over a few days, but unless I write it down, I just might not remember just to do anything about it. So again, apologies if you're waiting to hear from me. It's just the way that it is right now. Another issue that I have, I'm just looking, I've got a big list here. Another issue that I have is with processing skills. With conversation, sometimes I will get quite confused, in the sense that, to give you a wee example, I was at the optician's last week, and I was being asked to do something as part of the test, and I just couldn't understand. The lovely Pam was so understanding. She's dealt with a friend of mine who also had post-concussion syndrome, so I was recommended to go and see her, and she was lovely and so understanding, but she did have to rephrase things for me, and there was something I had to ask her, you know, 3 times, because I just couldn't understand. And when I think about it now, yes, it makes sense what she was asking me to do, but sometimes if it's doesn't even have to be a complicated question, I can listen, and I can try and understand conversation, but there's some things that just don't make sense. So if you are having a conversation with a person that you know has post-concussion syndrome, then all I can say is please just be patient, because it can be quite frustrating for what I would call the survivor. So try and keep questions as short and simple as possible. Another wee example is with Sudoku. Now, that is something that I used to be able to do at the advanced level, and I got a shock last week because I couldn't even manage basic level, like an easy one. My friend Pippa gave me a book. Here it is here. And she wrote inside not to try anything for 2 weeks. So this was over 3 weeks down the line, and I couldn't even manage and the easy one, like an easy one. So that gave me a bit of a fright, because I then felt as though I wasn't as far along in my journey as what I thought. But then I hadn't tried anything like that, so so at least I knew at that point that's what I was dealing with. Balance is another thing that I would say literally almost trips me up every day. I can go for a wee walk to the park, but sometimes I have to really pay attention, and I'd have to really focus on one step in front of the other, because if I happen to look around at anything, if I hear birds, or there's something that fascinates me, you know, it's not like I can just walk straight on and then look at something. If I try and sort of look as I'm walking, then the chances are I'm going to trip myself up a little. I haven't fallen, but there's been a few close calls, and I regularly stumble over things in the flat and knock into things, and I've got little bruises here and there. I mean, it was always a little bit clumsy before the accident, but now it's like another level, so it does sometimes look as though there's something not quite right there. Slow speech, I've written that down. So as you can tell, as I said, usual me is bubbly and full of energy. Initially it took quite a while for emotion to come through my voice, so after the accident I found that even in my mind I just felt emotionally dead. There was no high, there was no low, there was just monotone, and you know, and that's the way that it was. But gradually through time I've got a lot of that back, and there will sometimes be more excitement in my voice, sometimes not so much, but at least I've got that back, and I'm able to smile a lot more which is great, because I remember even when a couple of weeks ago I was having photos taken for the Courier article, and yeah, that resting bitch face is everywhere now, but I literally just couldn't, I just didn't have the energy, the muscle movement, whatever you need to make that smile appear on your face. It just wasn't happening, so I'm glad to have that back. Another thing that bothers me is sensitivity to noise and light and smells. So especially with noise, if I walk into a supermarket, which I've only done a couple of times after I've been at doctor's appointments, but it's the combination of, there's so much information everywhere. So when you walk in, I'm being bombarded with bright lights, there's text, there's pictures, there's noise. It is literally like an assault on my senses. So anything that I used to be able to listen to at a normal level, like TV, everything is just magnified all the time. So it's kind of like if you have migraines and sound is your issue, where everything just feels as though it's so loud in your ears. It's like that for me all the time. So that's why I carry these things around with me. Yeah, so sound is an issue. The other day my friend Maggie took me out to the beach, I think that was Monday morning, and in terms of sensitivity with my eyes, if you're a photographer this will make sense, but it was a fairly dull day. There was clouds around, there was a little bit of light coming through, but to me it felt like the ISO was up too high on the camera. That's what it felt like. So even with wearing sunglasses, it just felt as though everything was too bright. And then I have floaters in my eyes as well, so I'm getting that checked this week, so fingers crossed. I don't know what's going on there, but we're going to find out. Smells again, so that doesn't really bother me so much now, in the sense that I have a really good sense of smell, and that's great. But now, well, when I first came home after the accident, everything smelled so offensive. I couldn't even, you know, even the smell of me. You know, I'm quite a clean person. You know, I have a bath every day, but the smell, just absolutely everything was revolting. And there we go. but it's still quite sensitive. But of all the senses that bother me, it's the noise for sure. Spatial awareness is another issue that I'm having, and it's one of these weird senses that you're almost not aware of knowing what it is really until you lose it. So the best way I can describe it is that there's a few things have happened. So my brother a couple of weeks ago picked a hair off my back, but because I didn't know that he was there or that he was coming to do that, I literally jumped and screamed, jumped out of my skin, because I have no concept that, you know, if people are around behind me, I just have no concept of that, so I feel as though I'm very frightful. I was out in the park one day last week, and a dog came up behind me, and I think it maybe jumped on my leg, but because I didn't know that it was coming, yes, you're going to get a fright if that happens, but it just seems that my reactions are crazy. They're so it's like I'm being melodramatic, but it's an automatic thing. I don't know that I'm going to be like that. I literally just can't stop. And then I suppose another thing that I have been dealing with is really mindset. That has been probably one of the toughest things to get my head around. So for the first couple of weeks, I was convinced every day that it would be better. Every 2 days I was going to beat this. I don't think I really understood just the seriousness of PCS. I thought it would be something I would get over fairly quickly. I would have my life back to normal. I would be back to work. I would be back exercising, doing everything that I love. But sadly, that wasn't the case. So for the first couple of weeks, I was kind of in denial, or just not really, or maybe I was just hopeful that things were going to be a lot better. And now, since my doctor told me, you know, just take it a week at a time, I'm not living day to day anymore. You know, I do accept that some days there will be improvements with things, and then other days I'm going to take a step back. So it's not just like a graph that goes up gradually. Every day it's very much up and down. So I try not to get too disheartened if I'm having a bad day or a bad moment, because I know that it's just the way that it's going to be. It's going to be up and down, and I've just kind of had to learn to accept that, really. So let's talk about I suppose a couple of things that have improved then, really. So I don't want to be all so depressing, but so eating, I suppose that was a thing that I found so difficult in the beginning, because I was so fatigued that I just didn't have the energy at all to cut up food. So I had to get JP to do that for me. If we were having pasta, he would have to cut that up. If it was fish, he would need to cut it up before he gave it to me. So yeah, and then to have the energy to finish a meal, everything was just such an effort. So my friend Steve gave me some Huel. I've had another package of that arrive today. I went and ordered up some because I was losing weight, and I'm quite slim anyway, and I thought it's one of these things that I need to, my brain seems to use up so much more power to do everything. So I thought I better just do something about that. I don't want to be losing any more weight. So I've got that package, has just arrived today, so I shall be digging into that. But that's something that really did help me. So eating is definitely better, and I'm so grateful for everyone that has sent lots of packages of food of various kinds. I love getting healthy foods, and obviously because my business is on hold, healthy foods can be more expensive, so I'm so grateful for everybody that has sent me some things in the post. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I will do some other videos to let you know what I'm doing for treatments, and yeah, just thank you so much to everybody that has been in touch with your kind messages of support. I am back on YouTube now, but for the moment it's not going to be about my photography. It's just I'm going to be sharing my journey of recovery. So we are over 4 weeks now. This is Wednesday. I don't even know what date it is. I know we're in April. It's maybe the first Wednesday in April. Let's just go with that. As I said, I don't know how many videos I'm going to be posting, but I am so grateful to everybody that has sent me messages of support and emails and lovely gifts in the post. And I'm sorry if I haven't managed to get back to you, or if you're waiting on a reply. It's probably just because I've forgotten. So I'm not going to have any shame in that anymore. I'm just going to say that that's just the way that it is. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to follow my journey. That would be so fabulous. And if you know anybody that is suffering with post-concussion syndrome, or if you just want to do a little something just to raise awareness, then please give this video a wee thumbs up for me, and then just share it out with all your friends as well. Okay guys, I know this has been a long one, 20 minutes. I will be needing a sleep now. Thank you so much guys, and I'll catch you later.